The COVID-19 pandemic has affected all small businesses in the U.S. Virgin Islands, but there is help to move your business forward. The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is available to assist entrepreneurs and small businesses. The VISBDC is the territory's #1 resource for small businesses and is sustained by the University of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Small Business Administration. The VISBDC is nationally accredited and provides one-on-one advising, business education training, and technical assistance at no cost. Attend workshops by experts from both the public and private sectors. From idea generation to exit strategies, the staff at the VISBDC are ready to assist you. So don't wait. Call, email, or visit them on the web at www.visbdc.org and Facebook, or simply download their mobile app on the Apple or Google Play Store. Just search VISBDC. Discover how they can help your business grow and succeed.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the VISBDC Webinar Tuesdays with the SBA. We have collaborated to bring you this series of webinars to help USVI small business owners further connect and benefit from what the SBA PR and USVI District Office has to offer. Today's webinar is entitled Government Contracting 101. And so we're going to wait for Wayne to go ahead and share his screen. Just a friendly reminder to put your questions in the chat, and they will be addressed by the presenter either in the chat or later during the question and answer segment. A copy of the presentation is available upon email request to info@visbdc.org. So without further ado, Senior Area Manager Wayne Huddleston from SBA, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Sharika. And can you see my screen? Can anyone just? Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you for that introduction. As Sharika says, my name is Wayne Huddleston. I'm the Senior Area Manager for SBA here in the Virgin Islands. I'm joined by my colleague, Lisa Chamley-Aki. She is also on and will help answer some questions. Every 2 weeks, we offer a presentation through the SBDC on a different SBA topic. This week, it's going to be about federal contracting. And this is just going to be a very general overview of what federal contracting is and how to get started and the opportunity that's there and how you can take advantage of it. But then we'll leave plenty of time at the end to answer any questions you have on this presentation or anything related to SBA. As I always say, you don't have to wait 2 weeks or for the right topic to come up. If you ever have a question, you can always ask about SBA. You can ask it during one of these webinars, or always give us a call or contact us, and we'll provide our contact information at the end. Just a few things before we get started. Please, I think everyone's already muted, but don't come off mute until the end of the presentation. And then if you have any questions, just go ahead and type them in the chat and we'll make sure to answer those at the end, or at the end of the presentation, there'll be an opportunity to ask verbally. So with that, I'll get started. So we're gonna talk about just general government contracting and what that is. So first of all, I wanna say that there are many small businesses out there that have only one customer, and that one customer being the government. And that's a very lucrative customer to have. The federal government as a whole spends approximately $500 billion every year. Out of that $500 billion, the government-wide goal of awarding 23% of those dollars to small businesses. There are 3 primary ways that you compete for federal contracts. One is full and open competition, which is where the vast majority of contracts are awarded. Another way is through small business set-asides, which we're going to talk about how you as a small business can position yourself to take advantage of those set-asides. And then 3, sole source. I'm not really going to talk about sole source. Sole source is really just an opportunity to provide a contract to an entity where no other options, additional options exist. So if there's only one provider of a needed service in a particular geographic area, and there's no way of getting another one to there, you can sole source that contract to that entity without going through a competitive process. But that doesn't really apply to many of our programs and contracts that you'll see. So I'm going to focus on 1 and 2 on how to position yourself for that. So as I mentioned, there are set-asides in these areas. Out of the whole 23%, there are percentages that are government-wide, and they include 5% for women-owned small businesses, 5% for small and disadvantaged businesses, 3% for hub zone, and 3% for service-disabled businesses. But these are government-wide goals. Each federal agency may change that goal within. They are not mandates, they're just goals for them to shoot for. But for instance, here in the Virgin Islands, the National Guard has a higher service-disabled veteran-owned business goal. I believe it's closer to 10 or 15%. And agencies are allowed to change that, but just government-wide, these are the goals for the agency. And that may not sound like a lot, 3% and 5%, but when you're talking about an overall 23% of the federal budget, which is at $500 billion for contracting services, it's a significant amount. So we'll talk about how to first assess your small business eligibility to provide government contracting. First, you must be a small business. Now, more than 95% of businesses here in the Virgin Islands are small. It does depend on what we call your NAICS code, which is your North American Industry Classification Code. Depending on what your industry is, your size standard may vary. There are some industries where you can have up to 100 employees and still be considered small, but the vast majority of businesses you can have 500 employees and still be considered small. Some can even be larger than that. There's also differences in the amount of revenue that you make each year. There are some businesses that can make $1 million or less or more and still be considered small, but it really depends. So you'll have to look at your industry classification system code to determine that. But by and large, the vast majority of any business here will qualify as a small business. You have to be a business type. You cannot be a nonprofit. Sole proprietorship, a corporation, or any other legal form of for-business entity works. It must be primarily located within the U.S. And must be owned by American citizens. So that is also another one that's not here. So again, I talked about these size restrictions that you see on the right side of the screen. It will not be qualified if you operate outside the business or you're a nonprofit, as I mentioned earlier. So if you meet those basic requirements, which most businesses here in the Virgin Islands do, you want to assess if you're ready for government contracting. Typically, you're going to have to show that you've been in business for a number of years, that you have a track record of being able to perform on contracts and provide services. You should show that you have positive cash flow and that you have the ability to scale. Because very quickly, a lot of government contracts can get very large. And if you don't have the ability to scale as a business, your readiness for federal contracting may be limited. So you want to assess all these. Federal contracting is not the place for you to start your business and receive federal dollars to grow it over time. The federal government contracting is a place to service a contract after you've shown that you have the ability to perform on those things. We also have a program called the 8A program. That is a program to assist disadvantaged businesses in the government contracting process. You also still have to qualify for the 8A program, though. It's not meant for new businesses. But once you've been in business for a few years, and you can show you have the capacity to deliver on federal contracts, that you have sufficient cash flow, that you've demonstrated ability and past performance on your contract, and you're open to getting some advice on how to grow, then the 8A program might be a place for you to help you not only enter the government contracting world, but grow your ability to service contracts. The 8A program is a program run by SBA to provide technical assistance and support in helping a small business program go through an 8-year process to learn how to identify contracts, how to compete for those contracts, partner with other prime contractors, and eventually exit the program as an entity that is capable and has a good track record of providing success. And it really helps businesses get on a good path to performing on government contracts. So after you have assessed that you're a small business, assessed that you're ready to get started in government contracting, you want to get started. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to register in something called the System for Award Management, commonly referred to as SAM.gov. When you register for SAM, you'll be taken to a page, and one of the very first things you'll do is you will be assigned a unique entity identifier that will identify your business. For many of you that have worked with SAM in the past, you may remember we used a number called a DUNS number. DUNS numbers are no longer part of the program. Now, if you've already had a DUNS number, that's fine, you keep it, and that just is now your unique entity identifier as your old DUNS number. But for someone who is starting new, you'll register in SAM, and part of that registration process, you'll be automatically assigned a unique entity identifier. You don't need to go through a third party as you had in the past to obtain that. You'll then want to obtain your commercial and government entity cage code. That is primarily from the Defense Logistics Agency and used for those purposes as well. And there's a lot of information on sam.gov to get that. As you begin your registration process, you'll want to begin pulling together your paperwork. And importantly, you'll want to prepare a quality capability statement. This is essentially your elevator pitch on paper. It's a short paragraph that you're going to type in at some point in your registration process to tell a contracting officer what you do. You want to outline your management and technical business strengths, your specific capabilities and skills, your past performance history, any awards and recognition you've got. It may give some key information about your personnel. This is essentially your way of telling that contracting officer, this is what we do, and this is how good at it we are, and this is the certifications we have, and this is why you want to contract with us. That's an important capability statement. It's part of your registration process that you want to do. So once you register in SAM and you've had all your information in there, you want to begin researching your marketplace to know what entities can purchase the services or product that you provide. Find out what the competition in your area is, what your niche is, what makes you different, and how you differentiate yourself from your competition. You want to understand the areas of government spending and the timing for that as well, because government spending can happen at different times throughout the year. So you want to know what the priorities are, what the needs are, and what the timing are for those. And then you want to know your competition and their contracts as well. What have they been awarded? How have they competed for it? How are they performing on it? It's really, really important. So we often suggest that you write a government contracting marketing plan at the beginning of the year. So I suggest doing this during a fiscal year because things happen differently during a fiscal year as opposed during a calendar year. And you want to be prepared for that in the government contracting world. Ideally, if you're in the first quarter, October and December is when agencies get their initial disbursement of funds for the year. You want to spend that quarter raising awareness and building relationships. You want to start researching what things are being funded, what the projects are going on out there. You want to reach out to government contracting officers that, if you know already, it's a good time to reconnect with them and say, happy new fiscal year, and we're here to help, and how can we help, and what can we do? You just want to make sure that they have awareness of you. And if you haven't reached out to them before, it's a good time to call and get their contract or contact information and just introduce yourself as a business that can help them as they try to complete contracts and find contractors to service the projects they need throughout the year. So using that first quarter to build your awareness and strengthen your relationships is really important. And then in the second and third quarter, you should be primarily focused on lead generation and your responses to calls for proposals that come out there. So You'll be looking at places called FBO.gov and some others, which I'll talk about later, that will show you when contracts are going to come out. You'll want to continue to stay in touch with your contracting officers because they can let you know when something's going to be coming up. So you want to focus on that lead generation during that time. Make sure you're putting in your proposals and building partnerships if you need and others to make good proposals. And then in that fourth quarter is typically a very busy and sometimes crazy time of the year for federal agencies. That's when you're nearing the end of the fiscal year, and agencies that have been putting off projects or putting off the funding of projects for a while, all of a sudden, before they get to that year, they realize we need to get this done, or we need to dedicate these funds for this project, and we need to knock it out before this fiscal year is over. And typically July, August, and September are very busy, frantic times for federal agencies. And so you want to make sure, again, that you are front of mind for those contracting officers, that you're prepared and ready to take on extra work as needed and perform effectively and quickly on those projects. So to find decision makers on these contracts, you want to do some really simple things. You can call and make an appointment. Every contracting officer on when a bid goes out and is posted, they will have contact information there. But most times you will have a contracting officer's name, email, and phone number. I suggest you just pick up the phone and call that person. Try to make an appointment, let them know who you are, what you do, and just say, hey, I'd like to just have some time. Perhaps it's a call appointment, perhaps it's on Zoom or a webinar, but make those appointments and make sure they get to know you and you can know them as well. Network and contact a small business specialist. Of course, network with other entities out there, even other primary contractors, especially if it's a field where you are experienced in, but have never received a government contract. Perhaps this is an opportunity for you to partner with another contractor and say, hey, let's do this one together. We can increase our capabilities together. I'll be a sub to you, but you'll learn a lot about that process and then maybe raise awareness with other contracts out there where you can just branch off and do your own. And then you want to submit an invitation to bid, or you want to be aware of those submissions of an invitation to a bid. So there are different ways that you can find those, and I'll talk about them. So as I mentioned, a prime and subcontractor relationship is very important. A prime contractor is a person who has entered into a prime contract with the United States. It's that simple. And a subcontractor is a person or business that is awarded a subcontract to provide supplies or services necessary in the performance of another's contract. So essentially, prime contractors win the contract. They are the ones directly responsible for serving the contract with the federal agency, and they're the ones receiving the dollars. However, it's very often that they need subcontractors to complete the work. And so then they will enter a subcontract with a smaller entity and then pay them funds to complete portions of the contract as needed. Oftentimes people say, I don't want to be a subcontractor. I don't want to run through. I want to talk to the agency directly. But if you are just starting out, you absolutely want to be a subcontractor. That's where you learn the most. That's where you get a lot of opportunities to be a prime contractor in the future. And oftentimes you're going to be spinning your wheels. If you have never served a contract as a subcontractor before, contracting officers and federal agencies are very hesitant to be the first one to award you a prime contract. So if you don't have that subcontracting track record, it's very difficult to enter that field. So you want to make sure you look at where those opportunities are. Perhaps they're your competition, but if they are already entrenched in that government contracting world that you want to be, you want to make them your friend as well and see how you can cooperate. And at the end of the day, it's all about making money, right? So you want to make sure that you are cooperating with them to get the funds that you need to grow your business and eventually be a prime contractor of your own. As I mentioned, there's a site called FBO.gov. I believe that does transition you now directly to SAM.gov, where you can also basically perform all the same functions that FBO.gov did. And what that did, that stood for the Federal Business Ops or Federal Business Opportunities webpage. It allows you to provide to initiate basic searches and advanced searches on opportunities that are out there. So you can go in to SAM.gov, do a search on past contracts over the past year. You can search by your industry, and it'll show you everything across the country or around the world that was in your industry. If you're the type of business that is geographically restricted, then you can say, I just want to look at things. If I can only service contracts on St. Croix, then I only want to look at contracts from the federal government that are on St. Croix, and you'll see those opportunities there. One thing I will mention to you, though, is oftentimes when local businesses look at the opportunities that are here in the Virgin Islands, and they go to FBO.gov or they go to SAM.gov and research either the past opportunities or the current opportunities that are available right now, oftentimes they say, well, I only see like 3 or 4 opportunities right now. What is with the billions of dollars we have in the territory of federal dollars that are coming in? Why are there only these opportunities? And that is because the vast majority of federal dollars flowing in for work in the Virgin Islands right now is going to the territorial government. And then the territorial government, depending on what agency they disperse that out to, is responsible for doing their contracting. Now, they often require many of the same things that we require. They require SAM.gov registration, many other things you're going to need to do. So you should still go through SAM.gov, but they will have their own process for promoting contracts, putting things out to bid, and completing that process. So again, this is just for federal agencies, but there are a lot of federal dollars also locally. So when you get to this point and you've researched and you've become a contractor or a subcontractor and you're ready to start, you would just want to get to work and start submitting your bid. You want to find that opportunity that's out there that works for you. You want to evaluate the pricing to make sure you're in the right realm of what makes sense and what is fair pricing for that. You want to demonstrate past performance. And if you don't have much past performance, you either should find a way to show that or reconsider whether you want to apply for that contract. You want to make sure you're aware of the agency's needs and goals, what they're trying to accomplish. And you want to make sure you put that in your bid to demonstrate that you have that understanding. It's not just about completing this tiny project. You want to make sure you understand the bigger picture and how that contract fits in that bigger picture. Then you're going to submit your bid according to the directions that you'll see in that proposal, and you'll wait for a response. I wouldn't expect a response quickly. Sometimes it takes some time, and that's where your relationship with that contracting officer will they should be able to give you a general understanding of how long it's going to take for them to review those bids and then respond back to you. Sometimes they do ask you to have a meeting or have some sort of oral presentation. So you also want to make sure you're prepared for that as well, that you can speak thoroughly about your project and your bid and answer all the questions that they're going to have for you. If you do not win a contract, you can always request what we call a debrief, which will help you understand why either you won the contract or why you lost your contract. You can request it whether you win or lose. And then it helps you evaluate your marketing and bidding strategy going forward, and helps you identify strengths and weaknesses of your bid program and make changes as necessary going forward. So there are ways in this process that we can help. There are a ton of resources out there, some with SBA, some not with SBA. But within SBA, we have what are called business opportunity specialists. Here in the Virgin Islands area, we have 2 that are assigned from Puerto Rico to assist. I'm going to give you their contact information afterwards, but they are helpful in helping you understand how to get started in government contracting, how to apply for 8A if needed, how to secure some other government certifications that can help you enhance your ability to compete for those contracts. We also have a procurement center representative that is also located in Puerto Rico. Her name is Jezebel. She primarily works with businesses, not on the front end on how to compete for contracts, but if you have concerns connecting with the right federal agency, or you're not sure the process was done right or whatever, you can contact her, and they are here to represent small business interests and concerns in the government contracting process. We also have what are called Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. I say we have that. These are programs that are run under actually the Defense Logistics Agency. We just promote them heavily as well because they are very important for small businesses. PTACs, Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, exist everywhere across the country. Until recently, there was not one here in the Virgin Islands. But the University of the Virgin Islands last year received awarding from the Defense Logistics Agency to open a PTAC. They are in a process of hiring and identifying that person, and soon you will have the full resources of a Procurement Technical Assistance Center to help you in that process as well. Whereas SBA assistance primarily focuses on federal government contracting, the PTACs also assist with that. They can provide more direct assistance in helping you prepare your bids and identify bids, but they are also tasked with understanding the local contracting landscape and can help you with that as well. So I would stay in touch with the Small Business Development Center. They will be promoting that PTAC when it gets up and running, which I expect will be within the coming months. It won't be that long at all. And then there are also plenty of opportunities online. I mentioned FedBizOps before. There's federal procurement data systems where you can research past awards. There's a system for award management, which has a lot of information on there, not only in how you register, what you do, but there's also a lot of assistance available on that side as well. There's the dynamic search bid system. That is actually an SBA site where we have taken all the registered entities from SAM that are small business entities, and we filter out all the large ones and all the nonprofits. And so we put them in just one database for ourselves. And you can use that to see how you look to contracting officers, because contracting officers visit that site frequently when they're trying to meet their goals of providing contracts to small businesses or women-owned businesses. They will visit that frequently. And one of the first things they see is that capability statement, which is why I highlight that in the beginning. But when you visit that, you can pull up all the other businesses in the Virgin Islands or all the other businesses in your industry and see how they portray themselves to the federal government. And it's a good way to research your competition, see how you look, and just do a lot of research in that way. And then there's other resources, USA Spending, GSA Subcontracting Directory, and others. There's just a ton of entities out there that can help you find what you're looking for. And then finally, there are sources to help locally. As I mentioned, when it comes to federal contracting, the primary ones with SBA are our business opportunity specialists located in our Puerto Rico office, Eduardo Velez Torres, Mariano Torres Feliciano, are both in Puerto Rico, but they can come to the Virgin Islands, or you can meet with them on a webinar, or of course you can talk with them on a phone or an email. Their contact information is there. We have me as a senior area manager. I suggest emailing me. You can email me at that email address, or wayne.huddleston@sba.gov is the same, or you can call me. Highly suggest you use email because that's the easiest way for me to keep in touch, respond, connect you with someone else if I need to right then. But if you have any contracts, we're always here to help with SBA stuff and can steer you in the right direction. And then finally, you have your SBDC here, which has a staff of very well qualified business advisors that understand federal contracting and can help guide you in the right direction for additional support as well. So that's it for my presentation. If you have some time today to provide some feedback, we'd appreciate it. You can go to SBA.gov/feedback. There's also that QR code there. We asked, I think it's like 7 or 8 just quick questions on whether these presentations are helpful for you. So if you want to provide your feedback, we would appreciate it. You can do it at that link. But for now, I will open it up to any questions that anyone has. I'd be happy to answer at this time.
When there's none on the chat.
All right, thank you, Lisa. And then if anyone wants to come off mute, you can ask a question that way, or you can type one into the chat.
Yes, hello, hi. My name is Frank. What is a MAC contract, and does it apply to anything in the U.S. Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico?
A MAC contract, I don't know. I don't know what that is. And I kind of, just to preface, government contracting is, I know I'm a generalist on government contracting. It's not my primary role. So I'm sure it may have some designation, but where did you see the term MAC contract used?
I'm hearing from other prime government contractors in Kansas. They're working on it sounds like it's a type of set aside or a way for us designed for a small business to get some work. And I don't know for sure, but I'm trying to hear it from a government person. And then I'm also hearing it used in Washington, D.C. for contract pooling, where certain agencies are able to pull from a MAC contract where they have a set aside, like an IDIQ.
Okay. I don't want to speculate on what that is. What I would suggest, are you here in the Virgin Islands?
No, not currently. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I would suggest you can either contact Eduardo or Mariano in our Puerto Rico office. But if you have, wherever you are, if you're in Kansas, there are two. The one that covers all of Kansas is in Wichita. And you can go online, and each SBA office has a directory, and they will have a business opportunity specialist. So I would suggest calling that person or emailing that person and just ask those questions on what they are.
So Wayne,
Yes.
and maybe I could just give a general overview because I just searched it. And it is something for the territories. So I'm seeing something from the Mariana Islands. It's called the Multiple Award Construction Contracts. That's what MAC stands for. And it just says it allows for streamlined administration from the government perspective and less competition from the contractor perspective. But, and it says that it lasts for 5 years. And it's set aside for small businesses that have US Small Business Administration certifications such as 8A Hub Zone Veteran and so on. So definitely the PTAC in your area, sir, would know more about what are the opportunities available for you to participate in this area.
Okay, thank you for that thorough explanation. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Good morning, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out, I'm in the Virgin Islands. Is there a general hub area where you can find a listing of all government contracts, or does it come down per department agency?
At SAM.gov or FBO.gov, you'll be routed. You'll get a listing of all federal contracts, regardless of agency. All agencies that have a contract of $25,000 or more are required to post on that site. Now, if you're looking for government contracts with the territorial governments, unfortunately, I believe that's all different. So there will be contracts posted on the VI's property and procurement site. You may see some posted on the Virgin Island Housing Finance Authority site, but it just kind of, maybe by TEMA will post them on their site. It just kind of depends.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so I don't see any more questions at this time, but in the interest of time, I'll just enunciate that the VI SBDC has so much more in store for US VI small businesses. You can visit our website at www.visbdc.org. Download the VI SBDC app on your mobile device from the appropriate app store. You can like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google My Business, and subscribe to the VI SBDC YouTube channel for new uploads of our on-demand webinars. I can also make a few announcements of the webinars we have coming up. We are getting ready to start a USVI financial literacy series, and that's in collaboration with First Bank. So we have Accounting 101 at 11 a.m. and that's on the 12th. On the 19th, we have applying for a business loan. And also a part of that series, we have on the 26th, fundamentals of credit. I also want to make mention that on the 20th, we have the USVI Business Resiliency Series with effective marketing in 2022. And that's going to differentiate between traditional marketing as well as social media marketing, the more modern approach to marketing your business in the USVI. And then on the 24th, we have our SBA, PR, and USVI district office back, getting our businesses in the territory prepared for disasters with disaster preparedness as we approach hurricane season. So Wayne, I'm continuing to monitor the chat. I don't see any questions at this time, but I did see that Lisa dropped a link for local government contracts.
All right. And Sharika, I will send you a PDF copy of this presentation that you can share with anyone who attended.
Thank you. I'll be sure to email that out. Okay, so on behalf of the VISBDC network and our SBA Puerto Rico and USVI district office, we want to thank everyone for attending, and feel free to contact us directly for more information as it pertains to government contracting. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Same to you.